Hello, my name is Kisha Clemons, and I'm the 2020 Wells Fargo North Carolina Principal of the Year. It is an honor and a privilege to serve our North Carolina students and educators. The pandemic has brought many challenges and questions about how to best serve our students. But just as educators do, we turn those challenges into opportunities. As an advisor to the state board, I've been honored and grateful for the leadership of Chair Davis, Vice Chair Duncan, Superintendent Truitt, and esteemed members of the Board of Education. Our state board continues to demonstrate their commitment to equity and excellence. Superintendent Truitt's North Star vision brings hope and change to our educational system. As I shared at the Fall 2020 State Board Work and Planning Session, I share these three words: together we can. These are three powerful words that remind us that we are all linked together for one purpose, one vision for every student in North Carolina. Leaders have cultivated a culture of collaboration like we've never seen before. Working with partners such as NC PAPA and the strong leadership of Dr. Shirley Prince, leaders have engaged in conversations about how we lead in a pandemic. I was thrilled to discuss how our teachers are engaging students in learning, how principals have modified spaces to keep students safe, and how we find new opportunities to connect and communicate with our families. I was also honored to be a part of NCASA's conference, where Dr. Catherine Joyce hosted various school and district leaders to discuss lessons learned from COVID-19. I've been proud to see how our teachers, despite the looming challenges, have designed innovative and whole child practices to meet the needs of our students. I am also appreciative of our RESAs, our Regional Education Service Alliances, for providing educators the opportunities for professional learning, roundtable discussions, and building a network of educators. This year has pushed us to evolve and take the necessary steps to reimagine what education looks like and can be for our students. I am proud to be a North Carolina educator, and I've been in awe of the great things that are happening in our schools. I was delighted to visit Mooresville Graded School District under the leadership of Superintendent Mooney and Assistant Superintendent Medlock. I was impressed with their focus on equity and academic excellence. Mooresville's motto, "Every child, every day," exemplifies their commitment to ensuring that all students receive a high-quality education. I fell in love with this peace path that the teachers and staff created to support students in building social emotional skills. It is a reminder that we teach more than academics. At Upchurch Elementary in Hope County, led by my dear friend and colleague, Alfred Jean Hammond, the teachers, staff, parents, and students, they are family. They make sure that every child knows that they are somebody and that they will achieve great things. Dr. Steve Lassiter, 2015 Principal of the Year and Assistant Superintendent of Educational Programs from Pitt County, highlighted the amazing journey of 4 different schools. These 4 schools are examples of how every day our principals and teachers create a positive learning environment that embraces student diversity and challenges students as learners and leaders beyond the classroom. And principals like Nicole Imes from Mill Creek Middle School and Catawba County Schools, she has created a bold vision for student learning. She has invested in her students and ensures that they are armored for success. And there is no better example of the greatness in North Carolina public schools than Vance County Schools. Under the leadership of Dr. Tony Jackson, our State Superintendent of the Year, Vance County has created a vision and theory of action to modernize teaching and learning. Their innovative work has resulted in significant gains in their graduation rate. I am so blessed to be a part of an extraordinary system of North Carolina educators and leaders. From east to west and north to south, the needs of our districts are vastly different. However, what we have in common is an undeniable commitment to serve and provide the best for our students. It has been an incredible journey as Principal of the Year, and I look forward to the continued work to reimagine education and to elevate the voices of our students and educators. Hello, my name is
Good afternoon and welcome back. I am honored to introduce Kisha Clemons to you. Mrs. Clemons is the 2020 Wells Fargo North Carolina Principal of the Year. She is currently the principal at Shuford Elementary in Newton Conover City Schools and a doctoral student in the Educational Leadership Department at UNC Greensboro. She is a North Carolina Principal Fellow and North Carolina Teaching Fellow alumnus from Appalachian State University. Under her leadership, Ms. Shuford has been selected as a national Title I distinguished school and recognized for their work with personalized learning. Ms. Clemons' personal vision is to inspire greatness in others for her students, her staff, and her community. Welcome, Mrs. Clemons.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Laura, for the warm welcome, the kind welcome, and I'm excited to be here today for the 2021 North Carolina Beginning Teacher Virtual Summit. So I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for inviting me and being here today so that I can share just a short message with you. As we move to the next slide, as Laura said, I am the principal at Shuford Elementary School in Newton Conover City Schools. Shuford is one of 7 schools in Newton Conover. We're a national Title I distinguished school, and we serve approximately 450 students pre-K through 5th grade. And so we've done a lot of work with personalized learning, but I am so proud to lead such an extraordinary group of educators who have the hearts and minds to do whatever is necessary for kids. So I'm very proud of the work that we're doing at Shuford. Today is an exciting day to be an educator. So as you see the quote by Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. And that means a lot to me because as I think about the work we do, our responsibilities as educators, it's always been more than a job or career. The unique opportunity within your classrooms to shape the lives of young people and really cultivate what I call world changers. And I talk about these world changers being people who see the glass half full rather than half empty. People who, when they see things are not okay in this world, are willing to stand up and say, it's not okay. And people in this world that knows that it's not about any one of us, but it's about all of us, and it takes all of us to do this work. And so you as teachers have the unique opportunity to cultivate that in our students. So many of you have that one teacher who inspired you to be who you are today, who may have inspired you to be a teacher. And I want you to think about that person now. I want you to think about them, think about the qualities that they had, your interactions with them, your relationships with them, and then think about what was it about them, you know, in their classroom or beyond that made them so magical or made the class so magical. And as you're thinking about that, you probably will catch yourself smiling or feeling kind of your heart warming up on the inside thinking about it, because that's how teachers make us feel. That's the impact that they have on our lives. And so my one teacher, can you guys still hear me? I just had something to come up on the screen. Miss Laura, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I had something pop up in the middle, and so I wasn't sure if I was talking to myself today. So as I was sharing, that one teacher for me was my high school band director. Now, my high school band director, her name was Miss Bullock, and she was tough. You know, she had high expectations for us. She pushed us and challenged us. But what we did know is that she believed in us. She cared about us. She invested in me. She helped me to see and inspire me to be the best that I possibly can be. And that's what teachers do each and every day, leading with their hearts and their minds, working to do the very best for their kids. And even though it's been 30 years later, the lessons that she taught me still are with me today. And so there's no greater profession than the teaching profession. And what we do each and every day matters. And that, my friends, it truly is a blessing for us. So as beginning teachers, there's a lot of newness that comes your way. You wear many hats. You do things from unpacking standards to lunch duty to coaching to staying late for the meetings. The list goes on and on and on. And so all of those things make you or will make you a good teacher. But today, what I challenge you to do is to think about, how do we grow into our greatness? How do we become that great teacher? And why do we do it? We do it because of our students. Our students deserve our very best each and every day. And as educators, we make a promise to our students that we are truly cultivating the next generation of world changers, as I shared. In order to do that, we have to really step into our greatness and embrace that. So our students walk into our classroom and they look very different than they may have 5, 10, 20 years ago. And actually the National Center of Educational Statistics, I think back in 2019, predicted that we will have, in the year of 2027, our student population, 55% of them will be students of color. And so, that reminds us, or lets us know, that majority of our students are going to be coming from different racial and cultural backgrounds, that students will have, identities that we want to embrace, and we want to be able to capitalize on their strengths and their talents and their gifts. But we also know that what they need as a student, the knowledge, the skills, the dispositions that students are going to need, they're different than it was before. And students are going to come to us with all different kind of academic levels of need, and they all need a high quality personalized education. So as you grow into your greatness, I encourage you to invest in your own professional learning so that you are doing the very best for your students. And so here are some things that I want to share with you today as we think about going from good to great. The first thing is advocacy. Now, we know that the work that we do each and every day, it brings challenges, it brings barriers that hinder us from achieving that vision for our students. And from the state level to the classroom, we are all working for the same goal, for the same vision, wanting to make sure that all of our students have a high quality education. And we have to advocate for students in every possible way. One way is thinking about how we are influencing policy, that our voices are important in developing policies, and policies at all levels, from federal to state to district to school and classroom policies and procedures that you create. They vary, but our policymakers, whether you are part of that group or you're influencing, needs to hear our voice from the field, needs to know what we need to put in place so that all kids, each and every kid, has what they need. And so great teachers advocate for those policies, but they also think about the practices, the everyday practices in your classroom and your school that you can reflect on and think about, how do we do it differently? How do we do it differently to support each and every student? So we're going to start with thinking about establishing relationships, and everything you've probably heard all year long and probably your whole life, it's always going to be about relationships. Relationships are the core of what we do each and every day. Great teachers invest time in people. They invest time in building those relationships. And relationships, developing those, it continues to build the trust and the respect, and it fosters those learning partnerships that you have with your students and that you want to create and continue to build upon. So a good teacher knows little Reginald in the 5th grade. And the good teacher knows that Reginald loves football and he is good at math. But that great teacher takes it that next step and goes a little bit deeper. That great teacher knows that, Reginald had a football game this last week and he scored his first touchdown, or that he shuts down when he is overwhelmed or overwhelmed with work, or that last week he had an argument with his mom on her way to school and he needed some time. When he got there, the teacher knew that he needed some time to calm down, to be to himself before he got started. Those are the things that we know about our students, that when it's not just about their academic abilities, but it's about all the pieces of the learner and of the child. And those strong relationships that we develop with our students, they don't happen overnight. They happen over time. And it is a process of getting to know your students beyond that surface level. And as you think about the not only just our students and developing relationships with them, seeing kids for who they are and their identity, but also looking at building relationships with our families and our communities and our colleagues. So teachers develop those partnerships with families because they're the closest people to their child. They know the most about their child, but we become collaborative partners with our child's teacher and family. And that's so critical because they are their child's first teacher. And our interactions with them and creating positive interactions with them not only helps to empower parents, but it allows us to really see our families and embrace the diversity that they bring to our team. And then also with our colleagues, we are working together to build strong, meaningful relationships. And that impacts the culture in our schools. It allows us to thrive, to lead change, and to create a positive academic and personal outcomes for students. And it allows us to create them possible when we're working together and building those relationships with our colleagues. And so as I think about my first few years of teaching or as a new teacher, I don't know that I had, I could think about relationships in the same way that I could see it today. But the one thing I do remember is the norm was just doing your best and doing your own thing. It wasn't as much of a collaborative effort and working on building those relationships. But as I've gained experience as a leader and begin leading beyond my classroom, what I learned is that there are lots of opportunities as colleagues to develop the culture in a school that we are working together and we're making connections with our students, our families, and our community. And that impacts the entire culture in our school. Great teachers make connections and build networks beyond their schools and their districts too as well. And social media for us and all the virtual options that we've had, especially over the last year and a half, has taught us that there are other ways that we can continue to build networks and relationships with our colleagues beyond our schools and our districts. So the first practice was about establishing relationships. Now the second practice is creating a vision for equity. And we hear this word equity a lot. And so as we think about what does that mean for our students and the how expansive that word can cover so many different things, Vision for Equity is about giving students what they need, providing them opportunities and resources so that we are, in quote, leveling the playing field. We're making sure that each and every kid get what they need. And so as we think about providing transportation for students or meals for students or devices, things that they need along the way. But it's even more than that. As we think about in the classroom, how are we delivering instruction so that each and every kid has access to the content and that we are meeting them where they are and helping them to master the content that we put in front of them. And this visual gives us a great example of the difference between equality and equity. Equality is about getting the same thing. And so that because we know that there are systems that hinder or barriers for some of our marginalized communities, that there are barriers that we have to do something different to make sure that each and every kid are included and they have equitable access to the opportunities and the resources that we provide them. And as we work to create equity, we also want to create to change some of those systems so that we can eliminate those barriers that some of our students have. So we have to continue to create this vision of equity in everything that we do. The third practice is, as teachers, you're going to assume multiple roles, but we have to think about how we continue to learn, and we assume the role of a learner, how we assume the role of a leader, that we collaborate, and that we are embracing innovation in each and everything that we do within our classroom and within our school. And so as we think about those kind of 4 pillars, those 4 roles that we take on, when we talk about learning, it's about, building your own capacity and investing in your own professional learning, as well as keeping the focus on student learning and making sure that all the things that we do are aligned with that particular learner, that we are leading. And even as beginning teachers, it does not necessarily need to be formal leadership roles. It's how we lead in our grade level team. It's how we participate in and model best practices. It is, how we share our resources and collaborate through during PLCs or PLTs. It's that leadership that makes the difference. It's how we are collaborating with our colleagues, with our families, to build something better, so that we are engaging, so that we're embracing innovation, that we are challenging that status quo, and knowing that as our learners are sitting in front of us, that we have to keep thinking about best ways to be able to serve them the best. And then the next practice that I want you to think about as you're going from good to great is, how do we personalize students' educational experience? And what does that look like for us? Because we are in a unique position, knowing that our students are coming to us with very diverse needs, to create a learning organization that really honors that provides personalized opportunities for our students within the classroom and beyond. And so, great teachers, as you are thinking about how we reimagine education, it's not about all the things that we do, but it's about some of the things that we have to reject. And we have to reject things when we're embracing the new. One of the things that we have to think about rejecting is doing the same thing, the practice of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, never trying anything new, never embracing that change. The next thing is, it's no longer okay to have a one-size-fits-all approach. Great teachers know that, again, our students have diverse needs. We have to think differently about how we approach them, and about how we deliver instruction, and how we allow them to take ownership of that learning. So no longer is there a one-size-fits-all approach. And again, we're rejecting this idea of a deficit mindset. Oftentimes in our language and our actions, we may say poor baby here or poor baby there, but it's about really looking at students and seeing them as having gifts and talents and assets. They're not broken. They don't need to be fixed, but we do need to embrace them and build upon the gifts and the talents and their identities that as they come to us. And so as we think about personalized learning, there are 4 kind of pillars of that idea of how do we create that in our classrooms. The first is all about the learner profile, knowing about the learner, making sure that everything you do is aligned with that. And it's more than just academic achievement. It's looking at their interests, their passions, the things that are barriers to learning for them, their cultural backgrounds. All of those things help us to design the best instruction for our students. Having a competency-based progression where we're creating pre-assessments to know what students know and are able to do. And then we're creating these learner paths where we are embedding collaborative activities in there, and hands-on activities, including STEM, problem solving. We're including all of these best strategies in their pathways to one, help meet them where they are, but help guide them towards mastery of the standard. And building in those critical thinking skills, and really helping push our students to question more, and to think critically about the things that are happening in this world, happening in the classroom, and making learning relevant for them. And then finally, we have to consider, as we are personalizing, creating that greatness in our classroom and personalized learning, is creating flexible learning environments. And it's not just having multiple learning spaces within the classroom, but that learning happens anytime, anywhere. And that we are thinking about how that students have multiple opportunities to demonstrate their learning in multiple ways. And so those four kind of components of personalized learning helps us really design an instructional model to personalize learning for students and make sure that each and every student is successful each and every day. And so I love this quote because at this, we are in a unique position that we have to decide if our goal is to achieve this greatness in education and to really serve each and every one of our students, then we have to make a decision. We have to decide whether we are going to continue to replicate what we have, conforming to the same systems that we have been using over and over and over, or is this going to be something new where we reimagine education and where we are preparing our students to think critically and creatively about what is happening in the world today, and how do I participate that, and how do I use my gifts and talents to really transform or change the world. And I love this quote from Paul Freire, who wrote a lot about systems of oppression and various groups of social groups that have been oppressed. But we are in a unique position in 2021, after overcoming some of the challenges of COVID, to really look at, are we going to continue the same, or are we going to move forward and do something different, something better, innovative for our students? And so as I talked about rejecting things, there are a lot of things that we have to say yes to. So saying yes every single day, even when it gets hard, that we are making that commitment to each and every student, that we're being intentional in our decisions in our classroom, in our schools, and our beyond, that we are challenging the status quo and advocating for our students each and every day. We have to say yes to that each and every day in order to really reimagine what education can be like for our students, but also to help us move from good to great. And so after all of those four practices that I talked about, establishing relationships, making those connections, into creating that vision for equity, personalizing instruction and personalizing a student's educational experience, as well as you as teachers, and even as beginning teachers, assuming these roles as a learner, leader, collaborator, and an innovator. Taking all that together, at the end of the day, I want to challenge and encourage you to inspire greatness. This is, as I wrap up, I do want to share that this is the motto, Inspire Greatness, is my personal mission. And we have a school mantra that highlights, our school mantra kind of highlights our beliefs about greatness existing in all of us, and that we each are very special and unique and have gifts to share with the world. And so I want to share with you our school mantra as I wrap up, in hopes that it inspires you, but that it also inspires you as you impact our students. And our mantra goes like this: we are Shuford Owls. Why fit in when we were born to stand out? Greatness exists in all of us. Today I will find my greatness and inspire others to do the same. So thank you so very much. I appreciate your attention and time today, and would love to open it up for any comments or questions. Ms. Rhonda, I think I have one more slide. Yeah, I have on here just my Twitter handle and my contact information there. Do you have any questions, anything in the chat?
There is nothing in the chat that I see. Right now I'm monitoring that for you. I'm seeing a whole lot of emojis though. Thank you so much. This was just a fantastic, incredible way to wrap up 2 wonderful days. Just thank you so much, Ms. Clemons, for sharing your time with us this afternoon. I did want to speak briefly to our participants. Please take a moment to visit our website, and you see the link right, or the web address there. It's bit.ly/ capital NCBTS21. And if you'll scroll to the bottom of the page, we have some surveys there, one for day one, if you didn't get a chance to do that already. And please make sure you complete day two's summit survey so we can make future BT summits even better. Thank you so much for joining us for the 2021 North Carolina Beginning Teacher Summit. We hope that the things you've heard will inspire and prepare you for a fantastic 2021-2022 school year and beyond.
Kisha, I know you might not be able to see the chat, but it's just a lot of accolades and letting you know you had a great presentation and all of those things. I see you responding now, but excellent job.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite, and I hope I got to see a couple sessions. Hope the whole summit went well.